Hi, welcome to Asian American Life. I'm your host, Ernabel DeMillo. In this episode, we take a look at movers and shakers in education, politics, and history. And if you want more information on our show, be sure to like our Facebook page at Asian American Life. Now, here's a look at what's ahead. Affirmative Action, Paul Lin looks at the ongoing controversy with Asian American college admissions. Race to the Top, Minnie Rowe reports on political candidates. Kyung Yoon looks at the first Sikh American exhibit in honor of September 11th. And Forgotten Heroes, how Filipino migrant workers changed American history. This and more on Asian American Life. All across the country, the issue of race-based admission and the recent Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action is a hot-button issue. So what does this mean for Asian Americans? Here's more.
I'm Paul Lin. Supporters of affirmative action called it a major victory when the Supreme Court upheld a college admissions practice that considers race as one factor in admitting students. Supporters say it shows that students of color matter on college campuses.
There is still a value to creating an even playing field and equal opportunity for students who have been historically marginalized and disadvantaged to be able to access higher education.
It was the second time in almost a decade that the Supreme Court has heard this case, known for its white plaintiff Abigail Fisher. She was denied a chance to continue a family legacy at the University of Texas at Austin. Her lawsuit alleged racial discrimination.
Abigail Fisher's race, white, was held against her, whereas other students, even though they had lower test scores, lower class rank, the fact that they had race in their favor allowed them to get in instead of Miss Fisher.
For Asian Americans, the Fisher case became a hot topic. When polled, Asian Americans largely support the consideration of race in college admissions. One recent survey found 70% in favor of affirmative action in higher education. At the same time, the Fisher case struck a chord with other Asians angered by admissions policies that they believe use race as a means to establish quotas. Indeed, even before the Supreme Court ruled on Fisher v. University of Texas, the Asian American Coalition for Education launched a complaint against several Ivy League schools. AACE is made up of more than 130 Chinese, Indian, Korean, Pakistani, and Japanese organizations.
In this complaint, we request that the U.S. government initiate a civil rights violation investigation into the admissions process of Yale University, Brown University, and Dartmouth College.
AACE's complaint, like its 2015 action against Harvard, also argues that Asians are held to higher academic standards, citing data that suggest Asians must score 140 points higher on the SAT than whites, 270 points higher than Latinos, and 450 points higher than black applicants just to be in the running for placement at a private college. The cases allege that when universities consider race in college admissions, it discriminates against students who might otherwise merit entry. Why some Asian Americans would support the dismantling of affirmative action speaks more to their frustration that even with high qualifications, more Asians aren't getting into top schools. It's not that there aren't a lot of Asians getting into Ivy League schools. 27% at Columbia, 22% at Princeton, 21% at Harvard, and Asians make up less than 6% of the U.S. population. The argument? That Ivies in particular limit the number of Asian Americans despite their accomplishments.
I do not believe that highly selective colleges have quotas for admissions, but that doesn't mean that when they're not reading your application that they're not judging one Asian applicant against the next.
How colleges view Asian Americans as a demographic is more the issue, so says Hallie Potter, a fellow at the nonprofit public policy think tank, the Century Foundation. Affirmative action, she says, remains important for diversity.
It's not a uniform experience, and in fact, I think if colleges worked more on some of those nuances, there would be a real opportunity to boost representation for certain Asian American groups on campuses.